Welcome back to Diving Into Watches. When you hear the word affordability, what comes to mind to you? Affordability seems to be thrown around the watch community, ranging from some people would see it as it's going to be a cheap build, but it's affordable, or it's a quality build, but you're going to pay a decent price for what you get. Affordability has a broad definition to many people, but when I think affordability, I think of a watch that is sub 500. Again, affordability can vary for a lot of people. Affordable might be sub 500, sub 1,000, sub 5,000. Again, it's all relative to the money you make. Um, but in this particular case, when I'm talking about affordability, I'm thinking sub 500 in what you get for that watch. And the watch that we're taking a look at today, I think two or three of these watches, and that company's Aragon. Aragon's been around well over 20 years, and they're based out of Deerfield, Florida, and they build some quality watches that I would say are highly affordable for what you get. This particular watch we're taking a look at is the Aragon Evo 40. It is a 500-meter dive watch, helium release valve, sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel, fully lume dial, abalone dial on a metal bracelet that comes in at a 40-millimeter perfect size watch that is absolutely fantastic. And when I mean affordable, I'm talking $189. They're on sale right now. Disclaimer, I have absolutely no affiliation with Aragon whatsoever. I do not get watches for free from them. I have to pay just like you do. Doing a video on one that I just picked up I want to say it's been about a month now, a little over a month I've been wearing it, and I've been absolutely enjoying this one. The simplicity of the dial, the simplicity of the watch, but the gorgeous beautifulness of the watch and what you get. It is a Seiko-based movement, but $189 for 3/16 L stainless steel, as I said, helium release, 500-meter sapphire glass, ceramic bezel. You can't beat this for the affordability. If you think you can, let me know. I'd be curious. Tell me down in the comments. Tell me what you think. Original, non-stealing somebody else's style build. I'm talking about affordability from an original micro brand or independent watchmaking company. And I don't think you'll disagree with me on Aragon. If you've owned Aragon, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So before without further ado, let's jump over to the bench and let's take a look at the Aragon Evo 40 with the abalone dial. Okay, here we are taking a closer look at the Aragon Evo 40 millimeter mop mother pearl. You can see, actually, I'm sorry, it is not mother pearl, it is abalone. This is an abalone dial, not a mother pearl. I apologize. I will correct that down in the comments. So this is what you're looking at when you pick this watch up. Before we get into all the goodness of this watch, let's go ahead and take a look at the dimensions. The watch is a 40 millimeter case, so it's 40 millimeters. The lug width is 20 millimeters. The lug to lug is 47 millimeters. You have a case thickness of 13 millimeters. It is a 500-meter dive watch, which is roughly 1,600 feet. It is a sapphire glass, and it is a lumed bezel, and a screw-down crown with a screw-down exhibition case on the back, which we'll get into more. So those are the overall dimensions of the watch. So let's take a look at everything else that makes this watch fantastic. So being an abalone shell dial, this is a piece of abalone that's been sliced and made into a dial, and that's where you get these brilliant colors from. It is your typical sword hands with your second hand. These are applied indices. These are not printed. The Aragon, the automatic professional, and the water resistant 500 meters on the bottom is printed, and then along the inside you have minute tracks in 5-minute increments that are printed. In the sunlight, these can be very difficult to see. The minute tracks can be difficult to see, so if you're trying to get the exact minute, it's a little bit challenged. But they are typical sword hands, and then the indices, the hands, and the seconds is loomed. The bezel is also loomed. The bezel looms in blue, and then the hands and the indices loom in green. And we will get a closer look at that. It is a 120 click unidirectional bezel. Very firm, a little tight, but very firm. I don't know if my mic's picking that up, but coming back up to the top, it's, whoops, I went too far. The QC is right on. So let's try that one more time. And it lines up perfectly at the 12 o'clock. So there, the QC is always on, unlike Seiko. It is a screw down crown. I'm sorry, screw down crown, and the knurling on the crown is very nice. It's very reminiscent of a 62 Maz case. I do like the size and the knurling on the crown. It's very, very easy to use, and it's typical of any typical watch or NH35. First movement pull out is to adjust the date, and the second part to pull out is to adjust the time. Push it back in, and it screws back in very nicely. And there's absolutely no issues. It's very, very smooth. The crown is marked with the Aragon symbol that they use. It is all brushed. It's a brush case with chamfered edges, and then it is a linked bracelet that is also brushed to match. It is not. It does not slender down. It's the same width all the way down. It is a flip lock double deployant clasp. The clasp is milled. It is not stamped like you get with your Seikos, and it does have 3 micro adjustments. And then the adjustments on the bracelet are your typical pin and collar, nothing fancy there. And then on the back of the watch, you have the exhibition case back, which I've in a screw down case back, which is very nice. Exhibition case backs with an NH35 don't really impress me that much. They did put a nice Aragon rotor on here so that you get you get a little bit of bling on here, so it does look kind of nice. But other than that, it doesn't show a lot of the movement because there's really not a lot to look at. And then the back just says 24 joules, wing engineered S-Site NH35, has Aragon, and then it tells you it's sapphire glass and stainless steel 500 meters. So it gives you some more basics on the watch. But for the bracelet, for what you're paying, again, for $189, milled clasp, double flip lock, and double push point deployment, exhibition case back, solid movement, solid case, solid lume, perfect bezel, no issues at all. It does have the helium release valve here on the side. So I don't know how they do it for $189. I really don't. So let's flip off the lights. Let's get a lume shot. After that, we'll put it on the Timegrapher, and then we'll go back over the studios for my final thoughts. So let's stand by for the lume. Okay, here's the lume shot. I misstated. I said that the lume was green and then the bezel was blue. The lume on the indices, hands, and the bezel are all green, but you can see the quality is just brilliant. It's super luminova. You are not going to go wrong with the lume on this one, and I just absolutely love when the bezels have lume on them also. It glows for quite a while. You'll probably get a good 30, 45 minutes of it. The interior will the indices and the hands will shine down fast. The lume will go away faster than the bezel. But if you've been wearing this side outside all day, when you go in anywhere that has relatively low night, this bezel and everything just brights up super bright. I just love that you get a ceramic lume bezel with it. Again, just more great features in that affordability definition of what you get for a watch. So you can't go wrong with this lume. So let's put the lights back on and let's put it on the timer to see how this NH35 is doing. Okay, we got the Seiko NH35 on the Timegrapher, and it's running right now. First test was plus 5 seconds. Second test was minus 12 seconds. Third test plus 7 seconds. And fourth test is plus 7 seconds. So this watch, the Seiko NH35, is running plus 7 seconds a day. This watch I've had on all day. So as you know, and I've always said that when you run them on a Timegrapher, a watch that's been worn for quite a while is going to perform better than one that was just wound and thrown on a Timegrapher. Just like a car is going to run better once it's warm up versus when it's first turned on. So, but with the Seiko movement, with any watch that's automatic, I would be ecstatic with set plus 7 seconds, unless it was a cost certified watch, then there's a whole nother discussion. But when you're taking the Toyota movement of watch movements and it's running plus 7 seconds a day, you can't beat that. That is just solid because the error range for the Seiko is plus 15 to minus 40 seconds a day. So you are not going to go wrong with this particular movement. So before we go back over to the studio to give my final review, quick watch check. I have on my Bulova Lunar Pilot, and I absolutely just love this watch. When you talk about affordability, when you compare this to the Omega Seamaster, now I know it's this is tuning fork, this quartz tuning fork, and Seamaster, Speedmaster is an automatic, but the difference is they've both been to the moon, they've both been worn on the moon, and this one is run using probably about $400 to get, and the Speedmaster's entry level, you're going to be about $6,000 to get into one. There's 18 variations of the Speedmaster. When it comes to the lunar pilot, there's only 3 variations. This one here, the 45 that they first came out with, then they did a reissue of the original size of 40, and now you can get one with a meteorite dial. So you only have 3 variations of the lunar pilot to the 18 of the Omega. So would I take an Omega Speedmaster? Absolutely. But when it comes to affordability and quality, you can't go wrong right here. So without further ado, let's go back over to the studio and give you my final thoughts on the Aragon Evo 40. All right, there you go, folks. There is the in-depth look at the Aragon Evo 40. I absolutely love this watch. I get a lot of wear out of it. I get a lot of compliments on it. I think it's because that abalone dial, and I correct myself, I said mother of pearl. It is not the mother of pearl. It is an abalone dial, which makes it even more unique. I think Aragon is definitely worth you taking a look at. I don't think you can go wrong for the value you get. And I like the word value better than affordability, but the value you get for the watch is absolutely incredible. As I stated, from the the sapphire to the bezel, to the helium release valve, to the materials, to the movement, everything you get in that watch for sub $200 is just absolutely incredible. And Aragon always has sales going on. If you want something that's not an NH35, you want a better movement, they have watches with higher end Swiss high beat movements in them, 28,800 VPH per hour. So you can get higher end movements in them. They have a ton of watches to look at, from dive style watches to dress watches to tourbillons. Go give Aragon a check. I think you'll be happy with them. As I stated, I don't have a lot of issues with them. My only complaint about the EVO, for the one with the abalone dial, is the minute track is in white, and it can get really washed out when you're outside. You can't see that minute track, but that's not a huge deal because I'm not trying to time down to the minute. I can just quickly look at it and know what time it is. So tell me what you think. Do you have Aragon watches? What do you think of Aragon watches? Have you had a good experience buying Aragon watches? Have you had a good experience dealing with Aragon watches? I will link down in the comments the review of my other Aragon watches that I've done. Tell me what you think about them. Tell me what you don't like about them. But most of the time, almost every time when I do my Aragon watch reviews, I get a lot of compliments that people really love the watch company. So they're obviously doing something right. Go check them out. Tell them that Diving Into Watches sent you. I get nothing from them. As I said earlier, they're not sponsored. So thank you again, everybody, for watching. Our channel's growing. We appreciate it. We're having a great year in 2024. The channel's really taking off, and we really appreciate it. And it's all because of you awesome viewers. Even the ones who give me harsh comments, I don't mind. I appreciate everything. That just tells me that I'm watching and something I said triggered something that just made you want to make a comment. That's great. As I said, you can tell I try to answer every single comment. I try to talk to every one of you when you ask questions for advice or questions about a movement or what I think of a different watch, or you tell me about the watches you have, because some of you guys have some really cool watches that I can't even get anymore. That would be a great video to do on watches that viewer watches. I would love to do some reviews on some of your watches, to get some viewers to send in some watches and me do some reviews on them. I'd love to do some reviews on your guys' watches. So as always, you guys stay safe. Hey, be honorable, be kind to each other. You never know the battles that the other person's fighting. So be honorable, be kind, do the right thing. You guys all have a great and awesome, fabulous weekend. I'll see you next week, and I'm diving into watches. And as always, I'm out.